We're going to go out and build a commune so we can all live together, raise our kids together, share groceries together, and just be rich together.
Yes.
So anyways, go back to your manifesting.
Hi, I'm Teresa.
And I'm Emily.
This is No Ordinary Friendship.
We've been best friends for forever. And while life has tried to keep us apart,
we won't let it. Join us as we catch up on pop culture, parenthood, and whatever's on our minds.
We promise a short break from real life, just for a little bit.
We all have our people.
And now you are one of them.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Teresa. This is so foreign to not be sitting next to you.
Yeah, this is weird. A virtual session with a huge circular mic in front of us is odd.
So listeners, today we're trying our very first remote session.
Okay, but we can get into it. Apologies and corrections.
Yes.
What do you want to apologize for this week?
I don't feel like we've been told about anything we said wrong yet, but I just wanted to apologize. Last week, we forgot to mention our very favorite podcast, Giggly Squad. So we'll try to bring them up in this week's session.
I feel like they're going to come up pretty naturally.
Okay.
They are great. Oh, I discovered, for people that don't know, it seems like we're just a fan account for this podcast, but I discovered that they are number 56 of the top podcasts, like globally, I think, for all different categories. And they're just two girls and they're very niche. And what they talk about isn't even that relatable sometimes, but they're just so funny. So I really like them. They're worthy of us mentioning them every week.
Well, and that's proof we're not the only ones who like them. Clearly, a lot of people do.
Yeah,
but
clearly.
You just reminded me that I wanted to ask our listeners, if you like us and haven't yet, please do rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We haven't figured out if you can do it on Google Podcasts, so you don't have to do it there. But that would really help us
know.
On our attempt to try to also move up in the rankings with our humble little podcast. Yes.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
Emily, this is a breaking news section.
The non-breaking news. So I think everybody received that emergency alert on their phones last week, which is probably like 2 weeks ago now for everybody. Mm-hmm. But we weren't going to talk about it because I was like, there's nothing to talk about. And then I feel like the universe was like, there is something to talk about, Emily, because I kept getting served just little stories on Instagram. And I know, there was some more serious stuff, like if somebody's in like an abusive relationship and they have a secret phone, people were trying to warn them like, hey, turn it off so it doesn't get discovered. But then I saw some like kind of funny news. And one was that Amish people were outed because they secretly had phones. And they were discovered during that emergency alert. Because they're not allowed to have like technology and stuff like that, and I guess
how do people even find out? Like,
because they hear it go off, like in their pocket or something.
But how did the regular news media outlet find out? People that are not part of the Amish community.
Maybe they got like outed, so they had to join the rest of society. And then another one was prisoners had secret phones, and they also got discovered. So I thought that was funny enough to share.
That reminds me of like the Orange is the New Black and everybody snuck phones in all the time.
Yes.
And there must be like a million phones going off. And they don't know what's happening out there. Like they don't see the news in which people are warning you that this emergency alert is going to be going off.
Exactly. And the Amish too, right? Because they don't have like TVs.
They're pretty disconnected.
Instagram. Or maybe the people with fake phones or secret phones
I want to know what happened after they found it, after they discovered it.
I think
Did they
just
just start blaming one another.
I don't know.
Like, it's not my phone. I
don't even know what that is. I've never seen it in my life.
Okay. Next thing on the breaking news story is Powerball.
Yes.
This is something I put down there, but then you put a sub note in. So I really hope that our breaking news was going to be that we are billionaires now. But we found out yesterday that we did not win. We didn't even win $4.
We did so many group pools this recent round because it just kept going up. We were like, oh my gosh, it's $1 billion. Oh my gosh, it's 1.3. Oh my gosh, it's 1.7. And all of us were supposed to be manifesting hard, but we did not win.
I did manifest.
I did too.
Not
and
enough,
that's what I was going to tell you. So it was October 10th and I was scrolling TikTok and this girl was like, if you are seeing this on your FYP and it's October 10th, then this is for you. And I was like, oh, it's for me. And she was like, October 10th is like a huge like money finance day. And so like you should be manifesting your wealth. And she said like, write these things down 3 times and put it under your pillow. And I was like, okay, for the girls, for all of us, I'm going to do this.
And there's some background though for our listeners. We did a group buy with our like 8 girlfriends total, 8 girlfriends total. And we've been not joking. Like, I think we're pretty serious. Like, if we win this $1 billion, we're going to go out and build a commune so we can all live together, raise our kids together, share groceries together, and just be rich together.
Yes.
So anyways, go back to your manifesting.
It wasn't purely selfish. I wanted to make our dreams come true.
Thank
but
you
I
so much.
actually, like, screenshotted what I was supposed to write. I went and wrote it down 3 times and put it under my pillow. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. But hey, like, if it's going to help me win $1 billion, like, who cares if people laugh? So I did it. So all of the rest of you did not manifest as hard as I did, and that is why we didn't win.
Okay. This turned into a blaming thing. Well, you didn't tell us about it. We didn't know.
I know, because it was really embarrassing. I didn't know if I was going to share.
Yeah, Powerball went all the way up to $1.7 billion, and someone did win it. Somebody
In California,
very,
which is where we are.
Small town in, I guess, technically SoCal, but it's pretty close to Central California.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, they bought it from a liquor store.
Lucky ducks.
Okay, on the topic of money, I don't know if this really fits into breaking news, but something I guess I was eager to complain about. So the other day, I told you that I got a piece of mail come into my house. It was addressed to me from American Express. And it was like, hey, since your American Express Platinum card is expiring soon, we thought we'd send you a new one. And I was like, what? I do not have an American Express Platinum card. I did back in 2017 and I canceled it. And the first thought that went through my mind was, oh my God, this is fraud. This is fraud. Someone stole my identity, blah, 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 blah. But then I was like, wait, but this is still my address. Like, if I wasn't, it's a pretty hefty annual fee. It's like over $500, I think.
The platinum is like $700 now.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
it's
So
like
I was freaking out. I was like, have I been paying this or have I not been paying this? And then collections is out to get me. Like, what is my credit score even at right now? Because it said on the card, a member since 2017. And then I started thinking, did I think that I canceled it and then actually didn't cancel it because I'm an idiot? And then what really happened, I found out later, was my husband added me as his I don't know what it's called, like a secondary card holder. Neither of us knew. I called them. I called Amex.
Wait, he added
like,
you accidentally?
He added me. They're like, hey, they were kind of cagey because even though it was my name, I wasn't the primary card holder. And so they couldn't really disclose too much. And I was like, oh, is that how you cover for cheaters out there? They're like giving their sugar
The
babies.
Tinder swindler.
So he told me that the card has been open since 2018. And I was like, how much have we been paying annually? And he was like, it's been $175 per year. And
wait, you've had a companion card this whole time?
Had no idea. Not one transaction has been made on this companion card.
Why is this the first one you've received? Or like, where are all the other ones?
I guess they expire every 5 years or something.
Oh, so you just had one before that somehow you never got.
Or maybe we got it and I was like, cancel it. And Stephen was like, okay. And then he never did it. So I don't know. But the guy was like, I can't even go this far back in your history. But I was like, I know.
You're like, I know.
I didn't even know this existed.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, that made me really mad, and I thought I would tell you. It was ridiculous.
Sorry. I know.
It's okay.
It was frustrating.
So we'll sort that out. Well, it's also our own doing, right?
Yeah. And it was kind of a nice gesture, like Steven was sharing his credit card with you.
Maybe I should go spend on it. Maybe we should just keep it. Because
I'm like too cheap because I don't have the Chase Sapphire one anymore, Reserve, and Victor does. So he was like, oh, do you want me to get another card for you? And I was like, no, I don't want to pay that extra annual fee.
I wish it was.
I already memorized your credit card number, so I don't need it.
I can do it for online shopping. I don't need it for in person. Emily, you can put it on your Apple Pay.
Oh, that's smart. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
That's true,
pooled,
but
so.
you could if you want to.
And that is the one I use for all online shopping because I have it memorized. Oh my gosh, my AirPod keeps falling out. I think I have like a weird ear hole.
Time for you to get over-ear headphones.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to pop culture. I wanted to tell you about Love is Blind. And I think our new tagline is bringing you breaking news a week later. I'm bringing you breaking news. This is not even breaking.
That's
it's just
not
a show
breaking.
on Netflix. It's a couple weeks later. It's still relevant because they do that once, which is a whole nother thing that we can discuss. But Love is Blind, do you know about this show at all?
I feel like I've heard people talk about how it's like Nick Lachey and his wife are involved.
Yeah, but they are
totally
so
wrong?
not important. They're the hosts.
Are they the
come in
hosts?
the beginning. Yeah, but they're the hosts that nobody cares about and people don't know why they're on the show and they want them out. Like I feel like they signed some kind of like Netflix reality TV contract, I think. So they actually host a couple of other shows too. And
Oh, good for them.
they're just in the beginning and then they come in the end and they host really terrible reunions. Anyways, I'm very passionate about reality TV. So Love is Blind, the premise of it is like they brand themselves as this social experiment where single men and women look for love, they get engaged, all before they actually meet in person. So they talk to each other. Yeah, so the
On the
format
phone?
is okay. So the format is there are 15 men and 15 women. Not on the phone. They live in the same area. So this past season was in Houston, and they go into these pods to talk. So they keep referring to the pods, not podcast, but they essentially can't see each other. So so the way they record, imagine like a rectangular room, and then they talk to each other through the wall. Oh. So they each get, so it sounds like a prison, but they each get their own, there's some mood lighting in there. They have a notebook and it starts off being very much like a speed dating type of format because there's so many of them. And then eventually you obviously are drawn towards someone more than others. So you get closer, you can opt to have longer dates. I think production helps you customize it. If mentions that they really like cookies, you can potentially bake cookies for them and then bring them in for
but you
them.
still don't
So
see
there
each
is-
other the whole time.
So there's like a little bit of a customized touch to it. But it's interesting because after they talk in these pods, like for their dates, they go back to like the men and women's side are separated. The men all have like a little lounge area and the women have their lounge area. And you're talking to these people that are kind of like your competition almost, or like people that are dating the same people as you. You get engaged, which is kind of a really big leap.
Wait, how long do they talk to each other before they get engaged?
I don't even know. Maybe
Like a
a week? Yeah.
That's
because
crazy.
I think the whole show is maybe about 3-4 weeks. So I think it's to marry for all of them.
And
So-
do they all get paired up, or is it only like a certain amount of them decide to pair up?
Yeah, it's a very small like number. I think we'll say
Okay.
3 to 4 couples, I would say, end up getting engaged. And then there's a big reveal. They like run towards each other. Like the experiment is like, can you fall in love without actually seeing the person? And then when you do see the person, do your feelings change?
Yeah.
And so for the most part, you obviously don't want to be the person that's like, well, you're not attractive.
That's not what I pictured.
But I think because they've known each other's like non-physical side so well that they can overcome that. But it is kind of a crazy switch. So then they move to like Mexico. So it's still very much La La Land. They get to know each other. But it's weird because it's kind of like having a pen pal for so long. Not a pen pal.
Right.
But like someone that you never see.
Yeah.
And you really only talk about certain topics. And
Do they ever talk about like how they look? Can they describe or anything? Or that's like not allowed?
One guy was like, oh, I know I'm not going to live that long because people my height don't live that long. And the girl was like, are you trying to tell me how tall you are right now? And I've always thought about that too. I think people, because they get deep about their history and what they've gone through. There was people of all races are on the show. And like, there was this Asian girl last season that really blew up because of her story. And then there was an Indian girl too. And I thought that was really interesting. I'm sure they've talked about it because if you're talking about your family, like there's certain cultural things that come up.
Right.
So I feel like it must come up in some way or another.
That's true.
But the
So
season,
then what happens, like, do they and then meet the other people? They can like break off their engagement or something?
well, you're not supposed to. Like, technically you could. Maybe thoughts in the back of your head. But the idea is to get married. Like, the whole end point is to get married. Like, will she say yes? Will he say yes? And you go through a series of, I guess, accelerated challenges. But this season is wild because there's this one girl named Lydia. She is being accused of snooping around one of the guys that's on the show and then basically finding out that he was going on the show. He tried out for the show and got on. And so she tried out for the show too. And then acted like she didn't know he was going to be on the show. Kind of.
And then she trapped him?
Well, she didn't. She didn't end up with him. She ended up with another guy. Well, actually, I don't know. There's another episode coming out tomorrow. So we'll find out. I feel like that's where we'll find out whether or not these relationships will last or not.
Interesting. That sounds a little bit more eventful than the Love After Divorce, which I'm one episode behind. But someone posted they spotted one of the people in LA, like on one of my friends. And I was like, oh, wait, so he's not in Seattle, which is like the person that he paired with. She lives in Seattle. So like, did it not work out? Or I don't know. I was just stirring up drama.
Probably didn't work out. That's just how
we'll see.
All the hot takes happen on social media when they see these people.
Yeah.
Okay. I will have more to share on Love is Blind later, but
okay, give me updates.
The latest.
I was going to share with you. Oh, so TikTok has been serving me lots of skincare stuff. Maybe it just knows that, it is a top concern for me as I age. And this one girl, she had like really nice looking skin. So of course I stopped and watched her video. But her top tip, it was kind of like eating and like supplements for skincare versus topical stuff. And her top thing was celery juice. And I'm so sad because celery is my number one hated food. And I'm like, I don't think I can even stomach it. So I can't have stuff that helps me build collagen.
There's got to be more than celery juice though.
Well, she was basically saying like, eating collagen, you know how people take collagen powder? She's like, that doesn't help your body build collagen. You have to do other stuff like celery juice, eating fruits, like vegetables and stuff like that. That's actually what like gives your body, I guess, like the building blocks or something. Again, not a medical podcast, but just that's
was she a medical TikToker?
I don't know. But I was really sad because I was like, I'll do anything. And then I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to drink celery juice. Nope.
Why is
but she also talks about, oh, go ahead.
Why is that your number one? I didn't know celery was your number one hated.
Well, celery and cilantro are kind of tied. Celery just has like this awful, I guess, smell or taste. I don't know. If it's like super cooked down, like I know it's in like chicken noodle soup and stuff like that, that's fine because I think that flavor has all cooked away. But there is something about like when I smell it in the grocery store, it just is horrible to me.
Because cilantro, there is like a biological thing in you that makes you hate cilantro so much. Is that the same for celery?
I have no idea because I don't know many people. I know cilantro is very polarizing. Celery, I feel like I'm alone on that one.
It's just a you being picky thing, maybe.
Yeah. But the other things that she talked about was face taping. So that's actually something I do want to try because I feel like I'm getting a lot of wrinkles on my forehead and I'm going to try it. So I'm going to order some like face tape and I'll let you know. Because, have you seen any of the TikToks where they're like, day 1, and they show you their wrinkles, and day 2, they're like, look, there's fewer wrinkles.
No, I haven't seen that. I've heard people talk about face taping. But do you know what makes the face tape different from regular tape? Like, can I just use regular tape and tape away my wrinkles?
Maybe it's like more
Less
like,
abrasive.
yeah, like just gentler on the skin.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Where would you tape?
My forehead for sure, and then like my laugh lines here. I think genetically, my mom's side of the family has like pretty deep these lines. So yeah.
Same. I think that is inevitable because we use that aged filter on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And it was so deep. And even when I put on makeup, it knew my genetic disposition, I think.
So we got to start taping now.
Okay. Good update. Let me know how face tape works. Face tape. That's kind of fun to say. Voice notes. Yeah. I wanted to tell you about voice notes. Are they making a comeback? The only people that I know.
Like, were they ever in vogue?
I feel like the only people that I see doing voice notes are older people and people in Asia. And I can imagine like it must be really difficult to say text in Mandarin. There's like a million strokes for one word. And so I saw my cousin doing voice notes a lot in Asia. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. But I saw this girl, Hannah, on TikTok, not Hannah on Giggly Squad. She was like walking through who she's dating, and like instead of just texting back and forth with the potential guy that she hasn't met yet, they were sending each other voice notes. And once I thought that was weird, I kept seeing it on other people's posts as well. And I was like, that is so weird because a voice note is essentially saying what you would text.
Yeah. But
Do they
like, say like, haha, LOL.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. But I was thinking how I would hate to do that because on text, I guess I'm far more emotive. Like I'm far more animated, a lot more exclamation marks versus I'm just sitting there texting exclamation marks like emotionless. You know what I mean? So it's just such a weird concept to me. Like, are they making a comeback? I don't know.
I do like the kind of convenience of it. It saves your fingers, you know, because you just press the microphone button. But it is a little, I know you and I tried it very briefly. It's like kind of awkward when you're in public. Because when you read a text, it's very discreet. But if you have a voice note, you kind of feel
people just whisper
or you're
into
recording
their
a
phone
voice
too.
note. Oh,
yeah,
really?
That's true. Yeah. Well, don't yell into your phone.
Hello. I'm at Target, Teresa. Oh, yes. I was meeting up with a friend last week, and she asked me, like, do you have a favorite kid yet? And I was like, oh, is that a thing that we have? And she said she did. But I was like, well, for me, it varies day by day, just depending on who's more difficult.
Right.
But also, I think, you know, Cassie is at such a young age that she's just like, I don't know if she's fully formed as like having a personality or a point of view that I can understand, although she has a lot of personality. And Charlie, I think we can see more of who she is, you know, like she is kind of your typical older child too, like cautious, like thinks a lot about everything,
right.
Not as like wild. And then, but for now, I would say I don't think I do. And I was just curious because I don't talk to many moms about if they have a favorite, if you do. And you don't have to say who, in case they listen when they're older.
How old were her kids?
They're a little older. I think like maybe like 7, 6 or 7, 3 or 4.
So
slightly older.
It was like a big age range. I am like you. I feel like it depends on the day, and even within that day, in that moment, like who my favorite is. And because they're so different, it is so weird though. Like the older child is like more cautious, more observant, just more calm. Like Tyler, my older one, is a lot more calm than Logan, who's only 1, is just like barreling through life with his big tummy, you know?
That is so Cassie too. She literally, she doesn't run, she barrels. That's such a good word.
Yeah, like it's just so chaotic, like just as he tries to get from point A to point B or do anything. But I like the variety, and so it mixes things up. So sometimes when I need a moment of calm, I like Tyler more, but sometimes when I'm looking for someone really sweet in a different way, I love Logan. So I don't know. I don't have a favorite kid yet. But do you think your parents have a favorite kid? Because you have an older brother and you're the second one.
I don't know. I think they definitely treated us very differently. And I don't know if it was like the boy-girl thing or the older-younger sibling. So, and I always felt like because I'm like the girl, daddy's girl is like very typical. Yeah. So I think like me and my dad had like a very different and special relationship growing up.
Aww.
And they would like joke that like, oh, if you want dad to do something, you have to have Emily ask him kind of thing. but then, he and my brother can bond over like sports and everything.
Right.
So it's just very different. And then same thing, like me and my mom, since we're both girls, like we would spend a lot of time together. But then I did always feel like she was like very doting on my brother, like almost as if she felt like he needed. It's also our personalities. Like I think I was a little more self-sufficient. So she was always like doing stuff for him. Yeah.
Interesting. At first I was like, okay, so what you're telling me in a lot of words is you were the favorite child.
No.
I do think daughters are probably more loved now than sons.
Maybe. Well, did you see, there was another news Instagram and I posted it and I said, you're welcome, Victor. Because it was like daughters increase father life expectancy or something.
Aww.
But sons don't.
believe that. I believe that. Yeah. You can thank Emily, Victor. No, I don't think I have a favorite kid. I thought that was a very spicy topic or spicy question that you put in my notes, though.
I think it would be very controversial if both of us were like, yes, 100%.
Okay. Let's move on to our random section, which we also have skincare again.
Yeah, we have skincare again, but I was just going to say, like, everybody talks about J-Lo. Everybody talks about, like, I don't know, like, Gwen Stefani, how they look, like, amazing. And they do.
Yeah.
But you know who I feel like people don't talk about that look really good? They're younger, but the Hilton sisters. Like, I would love to know who their skincare people are because I think Paris Hilton looks exactly the same as she did in her 20s,
True.
And then Nikki Hilton, because she's friends with Bag Snob, she pops up on my Instagram story sometimes through Bag Snob, and they look so good. And they're like white
really
blonde females who, would be prone to sun damage because they're fair, and they just look amazing.
I was watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Paris and Nikki Hilton's mom, Kathy Hilton, is on that show for a little bit. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, she cares a lot about sun protection.
Oh.
And I wonder if that was instilled in them at a very young age because they're like natural blondes, so they're pretty fair naturally. And so maybe they were like, the mom was like, you have to put on sunblock, you have to put on a hat. And so I think Paris Hilton actually walks around with like that big hat all the time.
Yeah.
So, and also, maybe you just have to be rich.
That too, that helps.
Laser facials every day.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to tell you about, so it's fall. We have been going to pumpkin patches, and I know prices for everything are insane. Inflation is
so insane.
But pumpkin patches they've gone too far. I feel like they're trying to be little amusement parks at this point, and they're not. I don't even know. I want to know what their financial statements look like. Like, what are you trying to optimize for? Because, like, they have a million pumpkins. They're so expensive. They have entrance fees. You can go on this little hay ride that's like $8 to $10 now.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. And because I was looking up a couple of different pumpkin patches this past weekend, and you can see on Yelp like the price lists from what they were even just a year ago or a few years ago. And it was it was pricey, but it was affordable-ish, especially I'm thinking like if you have a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Luckily, I have 2 kids now that like don't care for those things. And like last year, I remember Tyler told me he wanted to go on a train ride. And then when I bought the ticket, he was like, hell fucking no, I'm not going on that train. And they wouldn't let me return the ticket. So I just gave it away so someone else could use it. So this year I was like, I'm not even going to buy it. And every time he showed interest, I was like, do you want me to go buy a ticket? He's like, no.
What a good kid. My kids want to do everything.
What a good kid. Saving mama money. But it's ridiculous. And kettle corn, I know how you feel about the price of kettle corn.
Yes.
Because
In case the
it's
listeners
so
don't know, I
expensive.
wouldn't let my kids buy kettle corn at a farmer's market because it was $12 for like a small bag. To me, that's
$12
just
for small
ridiculous.
is ridiculous.
That's more than the movie theater.
Because the small is really small. It's like in a little
Yeah.
brown paper bag.
Yeah. Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
go
the
ahead.
price of the kettle corn at this place was like $18 for a small. A small.
That just like how did they get to that number? Like I want to see the P&L, you know? Like everything these days.
And then, but then the good thing, I guess, I think it's a good thing. The large was $20, and the large was much larger.
They're just
So I
trying
think
to
they
get
really
you to buy
wanted you.
the bigger one. Okay, that's
But-
fair.
But I don't know. What if you just want a little bit? Like obesity is a problem in America.
And also, I mean, just think about that statement. $20 for a large popcorn.
yeah,
That's crazy in itself, right?
that's true. I didn't. Even
But you're a
think
nice
about
mom.
that.
I didn't even take my girls to the pumpkin patch because, well, first of all, I wasn't brave enough to do it with just me with the two girls because Victor had to work. And second of all, I also looked up pricing on one of them and it was like, well, Cassie was free, which I was like, okay, that's nice. It was $35 since it was a holiday and for Charlie and then $10 for me just for entrance. And I mean, you can do like the bounce house and the hayride or
Yeah.
whatever, that's all included. But I just felt
okay.
like that was so steep because then I would have to buy them pumpkins too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got $2 pumpkins. Thank God, like Tyler doesn't care for these things. Like he wasn't dying to get one. I was just like, get one for the experience in the picture. Okay, should we end it here, Emily, or should we?
Yeah, we should. Oh, wow. Yeah, we actually talked quite a bit today.
I know.
So thank you for tuning in, everyone.
Don't forget to rate us.
Yes, please
All right.
rate us on Spotify and Apple.
See you next week.
Bye.